In the vast emptiness of the universe, an endless darkness stretched into infinity. Stars adorned the sky, their light struggling to reach human eyes from hundreds, even thousands of light-years away. In this enormous void, a human ship glided forward, like a work of art etched among the stars. The ship's name was Infinity. A product of humanity's breathtaking engineering genius, it was the first vessel capable of surpassing the speed of light. Now, this ship was embarking on a critical journey that would shape humanity's future. The crew was filled with the excitement of making history, but each of them carried the same question in their minds. Could they really succeed? Captain Fletcher stood on the bridge, gazing out through the wide screen before him. Thousands of stars twinkled in the distance, but his thoughts were on something far greater. He clasped his hands behind his back and paced the silent bridge, a swell of pride rising within him. Yet, with this mission came a heavy burden. "Are we ready for the jump?" Fletcher's voice pierced the stillness of the ship, echoing through the air. Standing beside him, Nora, the chief engineer, was focused on her monitors. Her eyes were sharp, cautious as always. Her serious expression remained unchanged as she continued to check the data in front of her. "Captain, all systems are ready," Nora said with a slight nod. "The engines are running at full capacity." "However," Fletcher turned to face her. "However, what?" "This journey has never been attempted before, Captain. Surpassing the speed of light. No one has ever done it." Nora's voice wavered with a hint of apprehension. Fletcher understood her concern. There was unease among the crew because no one could truly predict what the outcome of this journey would be. But as captain, he had no choice but to trust his team. "That's how science works," Fletcher said in a calm, commanding tone. "We can't advance without taking risks. This is a first step for humanity, and we are the ones to take it." Nora nodded slightly and returned to her consoles. "Yes, Captain, everything is ready. Beginning the jump to Alpha Centauri." The entire crew had settled into their seats. Everyone had fastened their harnesses, holding their breath in anticipation of the captain's command. The atmosphere inside the ship seemed to freeze. No one made a sound. The only noise was the faint hum of the ship's engines. Captain Fletcher took his seat and placed his hand on the command panel, his eyes fixed on the large screen on the bridge. "Crew," he said in a steady voice, "we are about to witness history. Prepare yourselves." Speaking into the ship's intercom, Fletcher continued, 3, 2, 1. Initiating light-speed jump." Suddenly, everything went dark. A slight shudder rippled through the ship. The hull strained as the vacuum of space twisted oddly around them. Everything seemed to be drawn into a dark void. The crew's eyes widened, frozen in place, barely able to breathe. Time itself appeared to slow, stretch, and reshape. And then, there was an explosion. An unseen force shook the entire ship. A blinding light filled every space, intense enough to overwhelm the senses. In that moment, every mind was gripped by both terror and awe. For a few seconds, everything aboard the ship went still. Then, as the engines gradually returned to normal, the screens on the bridge flickered back to life. All indicators turned green, signaling that the ship systems had stabilized. Nora, still breathless, remained at her console. Captain, we've made it to Alpha Centauri," she gasped between breaths. Fletcher, without taking his eyes off the screen, slowly straightened up. "How long did it take?" he asked. Nora stared at the data for a moment, still in shock. "Total, 2 seconds, she said. Captain Fletcher gave a slow, satisfied nod, a smile creeping across his face. "There it is," he said. "We did it." But their victory was short-lived. The Infinity's shields suddenly flared to life. The ship's alarm systems blared as energy waves began to ripple through the surrounding space, indicating the approach of hostile vessels. Nora's expression instantly turned grave. "Captain, we have 5 large ships approaching. Unknown species. Their weapons systems are online." Fletcher's brow furrowed. "Raise shields to full power. Let's be ready." Everyone on the ship quickly sprang into action, returning to their stations. Though the approaching enemies were unknown, one thing was certain: they were not safe. Within seconds, massive enemy ships appeared on the radar. Now, in the void of space, it was just humanity and this unknown threat. and the only thing standing between them and destruction was the advanced technology of the Infinity and its brave crew. Captain Fletcher had to ensure his crew remained calm. Suppressing his own anxiety, he gave the order. Prepare for battle. They have no idea who they're dealing with. His eyes took on the cold, steady determination of a soldier ready for war. Let's show them what humanity is made of, he said. The ship switched to combat mode, and the shields shimmered with energy. Now, all cards were on the table. Infinity had successfully reached Alpha Centauri, in an uncharted region of the galaxy. The crew's euphoria quickly faded, replaced by tense silence as a massive formation of 5 alien ships surrounded them. These ships belonged to a civilization unlike any humanity had ever encountered. Each ship was twice the size of the Infinity, glowing with energy shields adorned with strange symbols unfamiliar to human eyes. "Captain, we can't identify these ships," Nora said, her fingers flying across the console as she analyzed the data. "There's no record of these in any of our databases. Their weapon systems are active, and their energy levels are rising rapidly." Captain Fletcher kept his eyes on the screen, remaining calm as he issued his orders. "Raise shields to maximum capacity. Keep the weapon systems on standby. We won't fire unless necessary. We need to understand their intentions first." A wave of tension swept through the bridge. The soldiers stood at their posts, watching the massive ships on their screens, but no one knew exactly what they were up against. Humanity had technological superiority, but the motives of these unknown forces remained a mystery. Suddenly, a metallic, echoing voice reverberated through the ship's communication systems. "How did you get here, humans?" the voice asked coldly, its tone sending a chill through the crew. Fletcher leaned back slightly in his chair and pressed the microphone button. "This is Captain Thomas Fletcher of the United Human Forces. We have successfully surpassed light speed and have come to this region for exploration." "Who are you?" There was a brief silence before the metallic voice responded. "We are the vanguard of the Zandalar Empire. This region falls within our territory. What business does a light-speed-capable entity have here?" Captain Fletcher's face showed a hint of surprise. The Zandalar Empire? Humanity had encountered many species in the galaxy, but this name was completely unfamiliar. Humanity's breakthrough in faster-than-light travel had now caught the attention of a new empire. Fletcher opened the microphone again and spoke. "We are a peaceful civilization. We are here only for exploration. If we've entered your territory without permission, we apologize and request a diplomatic resolution." The Zandalar leader's voice returned, this time with a cold and mocking tone. "A peaceful civilization, with such advanced technology? Surpassing light speed is not just a technological achievement, it is power, and those who wield power often abuse it." Nora glanced quickly at the monitor next to the captain. "Captain," she whispered, "these ships have significant firepower. If a conflict begins, it might not be in our favor, but our speed is far superior to theirs." Fletcher took in her words and paused for a moment. He was trying to gauge their intentions, but his primary duty was to protect humanity. Attacking first wasn't an option, but retreating might show weakness. "We need to make our intentions clear, but we must stay on guard," Fletcher thought. He activated the microphone again. "I repeat, our intentions are peaceful. We are explorers. We do not seek war." One of the Zandalar ships moved closer. Infinity's radar systems blared warnings. Energy fluctuations appeared on Nora's screens. The Zandalar were preparing some kind of energy weapon. Everyone on the bridge was on edge. Fletcher kept his eyes fixed on the screen, his fingers hovering over the command panel. "If they attack, initiate the escape route," he said to Nora. "But we won't fire the first shot." Nora nodded. "Understood, Captain," she said. The Zandalar leader's voice echoed through the ship again. "If you truly are a peaceful civilization, prove it. Shut down your engines and surrender." The demand sent a shock through the bridge. Surrender? After achieving such a monumental breakthrough in exploration, would humanity now bow to these unknown forces? Fletcher took a deep breath, closed his eyes for a moment, and thought. Surrender was not an option, but neither was a reckless conflict. Speaking with firm resolve, Fletcher responded. "We refuse to surrender. But we do not seek conflict. If you start a war, the consequences will be severe for both sides." The Zandalar leader's voice abruptly cut off. The silence on the bridge heightened everyone's growing anxiety. After a few seconds, one of the Zandalar ships made a sudden maneuver, moving dangerously close to the Infinity. Their weapon systems activated, and energy beams were directed straight at the human vessel. "Shields at full capacity!" Nora shouted. The first energy wave slammed into Infinity's shields. The ship shuddered violently, but the shields absorbed most of the impact. However, a much larger assault was on its way. "Captain, we have to stop them!" one of the crew members shouted in panic. Fletcher, trying to remain calm, gave his order. "We'll use our speed. Prepare for battle maneuvers. Open fire, but target precisely. If this ends in a fight, we will come out on top." Infinity's weapon systems came online. Nora and the crew quickly engaged the systems. Infinity, with its superior maneuverability, darted between the Zandalar ships. Captain Fletcher knew the importance of striking at the right moment. He wouldn't engage in direct combat. He would use speed and intelligence. Infinity's laser cannons targeted the weak points of the enemy ships. Explosions rippled through the vacuum of space as Infinity accelerated once more, slipping out of the enemy's range. "Escape route activated," Nora said, drenched in sweat. "The Zandalar ships are pursuing, but we're gaining distance." Fletcher looked at his screen and smiled with satisfaction. "We showed them who they're dealing with," he said. "This fight isn't over, but we'll be ready for the next encounter." As Infinity sped away from the enemy ships, heading out of the Alpha Centauri system, the tension on the bridge slowly began to ease. But no one felt entirely at ease. The unknown threat they had encountered posed a serious challenge to humanity's faster-than-light technology. Further encounters with this new empire seemed inevitable. The Infinity had traveled several light-years in silence after leaving Alpha Centauri. Zandalar Empire ships had pursued them for a while, but thanks to the Infinity's incredible speed, they had managed to evade the threat. Still, the crew felt a deep unease. Zandalar was only the beginning. With this new technology, facing even greater dangers was inevitable. Captain Fletcher had called the crew to a meeting in the bridge's main chamber. Nora, Science Officer Diaz, and Chief Engineer Keller were seated with him. Their faces still showed signs of shock from their recent encounters, but there was also a sense of confidence from successfully completing their mission. "What we've faced so far was just a warning," Fletcher began, his tone firm. "The Zandalar Empire is powerful, but I don't believe they possess the technology to match our speed." Diaz, scanning through the data in front of him, nodded. "That may be true, Captain. But they've seen a ship that can travel faster than light. Every power in the galaxy will want to get their hands on this technology now. And it won't just be Zandalar coming after us." Nora chimed in, "Given our current position, what should our next move be, Captain? Should we head back to Earth, or explore this region further? If we return, there's a high chance other empires like Zandalar will track us." Fletcher sat up straighter, as if he had been waiting for this question. "Going back isn't an option. This ship is humanity's greatest exploration vessel. With this technology, we could change the balance of power in the galaxy. We're not just scientists and soldiers, we are humanity's vanguard. But we need more information." Keller, looking over the ship's diagnostics, added, "The engines are currently operating at full capacity, but this technology is still unstable. Running at this speed for too long could wear out the engines. We'll need a base for repairs if we continue much further." Fletcher considered this. "We'll have to explore the outer regions to find such a base," he said. "But we'll also need allies. There must be other civilizations along Zandalar's borders. If we can find someone to partner with, we'll have a strategic advantage not just against Zandalar, but the entire galaxy." Diaz spoke up again. "According to the star maps, the next closest system belongs to the Tarsus Confederation. We don't know much about them, but there's no record of them being hostile." Fletcher's gaze wandered over the map. The Tarsus Confederation seemed like a mysterious force with the potential to be an ally. But it was a risky move. Humanity had managed to fend off Zandalar, but they still didn't have a secure ally. "We'll attempt contact with them," Fletcher decided. "If we approach peacefully, they might help us establish a base in this region. We don't want to engage in a full-scale war with Zandalar right now, but we need to show the galaxy that we're ready." The next day, the Infinity approached the borders of the Tarsus Confederation. Their ships were much smaller and more elegant than Zandalar's. Sleek lines and gleaming metallic surfaces reflected in the distance as they intercepted the Infinity. Fletcher opened the ship's communication systems, speaking cautiously. "This is Captain Thomas Fletcher of the United Human Forces. We come in peace to the Tarsus Confederation. We're on a mission of exploration and seek to form new alliances. Would you be willing to meet with us?" After a tense pause, a refined voice echoed through the ship's speakers. This voice was different from the cold, harsh tones of Zandalar. It was gentler, more curious. "I am Admiral Isalia, one of the leaders of the Tarsus Confederation. We have received word that you possess a ship capable of faster-than-light travel. How did you acquire such technology?" Fletcher took a deep breath. In encounters like this, there was no need to twist the truth, but humanity's strategic secrets had to be protected. "This technology is the result of years of scientific research. As humans, our goal is to explore the galaxy and form alliances through peaceful means." Admiral Isalia's voice remained silent for a moment. Then she spoke again, this time with a hint of tension. "Tarsus has long resisted the Zandalar Empire. I know you've encountered them. If you wish to stay in this region, cooperation with us will be inevitable. But first, you must earn our trust." Fletcher listened carefully. Trust was the most valuable currency in the galaxy. "How do you suggest we earn your trust, Admiral?" he asked cautiously. Admiral Isalia paused briefly, and when she spoke again, there was a slight tension in her voice. "Are you willing to assist us in a mission against Zandalar, Captain Fletcher? If you help us repel an incursion along their borders, you'll earn our trust." The offer made Fletcher think deeply. Another encounter with Zandalar would bring even greater risks for the Infinity. Yet, without an ally like Tarsus, navigating the galaxy would be far more difficult. He replied carefully, "We accept your offer, Admiral. But understand that our ultimate goal is lasting peace. If an opportunity for negotiation with Zandalar arises after this operation, we would like to pursue it." Admiral Isalia responded immediately. "Understood, Captain Fletcher. We'll guide you through the operation. We will test your trust." Fletcher knew the Tarsus Confederation was powerful, but humanity's technology gave him hope that they could succeed in this fight. With their new allies, an operation against Zandalar could solidify humanity's place in the galaxy and open the doors to a new era. Fletcher turned to his crew. "Humanity is preparing to take its place in the galaxy. But we will do this not just through war, but by forging intelligent alliances." Everyone aboard felt the weight of both the coming conflict and the diplomatic strategies at play. This was no longer just a mission of exploration, it was the first step toward a war that could reshape the galaxy. As Fletcher, Nora, and the crew moved alongside the Tarsus Confederation ships, they drew closer to the borders of the Zandalar Empire. They stood on the edge of a new battle, but this time they weren't alone. I hope you had a good time. If you liked my story, do not forget to comment and subscribe to my channel. Goodbye, see you in the next story.